now is Massachusetts Congressman Jake Auchincloss, a Democratic member of the Select Committee on China. Welcome in, Congressman. Now, first on that breaking news, does that sort of diminish any Republican criticism here, the fact that it happened 3 times under the Trump administration?
Good to be on. The entire Republican criticism is disappointing and hypocritical. This is a foreign policy victory for Joe Biden. He responded to an international incident in a strong and measured fashion. From basic officer course onwards, military leaders learned that you've got to balance the mission against force protection considerations. In this situation, the mission was to protect American airspace as well as to maximize counterintelligence opportunities. And the force protection considerations were about ensuring that civilians and American property on the ground were not going to be subject to debris from a missile strike. Mission accomplished. We, as you reported earlier, are likely to come out of this in a stronger position relative to the Chinese Communist Party's surveillance capabilities. And it's just disappointing that at a time when the CCP, frankly, looks pretty weak and incompetent, that Republicans wouldn't be supporting our commander-in-chief. Xi Jinping is watching very closely right now. This was an opportunity to show strong resolve, and instead they're engaging in partisan bickering just to score some points with their base.
You mentioned the debris. What do you think the U.S. might be able to learn from that debris once it gathers it? What is your attitude as well on the U.S. handling of this whole situation?
So far, it's been a victory for Joe Biden. He has maximized force protection, maximized counterintelligence opportunities, and he has demonstrated American resolve to protect our airspace. We're going to find out, obviously, what can be recovered from the debris. Clearly, doing it over water maximize our ability to collect that information. And I think we should respond roughly in the same template that the Chinese responded in 2001 with our asset that was downed by them. We are gonna hold on to any sensitive material that we find. That is for sure.
Okay, now speaking, you mentioned Chinese President Xi Jinping. As China warns that it reserves the right to respond, I want to play for you what CIA Director Bill Burns said about the president earlier this week. Listen here.
We know as a matter of intelligence that he's instructed the People's Liberation Army to be ready by 2027 to conduct a successful invasion. Now, that does not mean that he's decided to conduct an invasion in 2027 or any other year, but it's a reminder of the seriousness of his focus and his ambition.
Specifically speaking about an invasion of Taiwan. Now, how concerned are you about the possibility of this, and how much do you think is factoring in here to how the U.S. navigates tensions?
I'm deeply concerned. It's one of the reasons I'm going to Taiwan as a member of the Select Committee on China in just a few weeks' time. And why it's so important that the president has been successful in inducing the Japanese and the South Koreans and the Filipinos and the Australians to double down on their own defense preparations, because our ability to maintain peace across the Taiwan Strait and indeed to maintain a free and open Indo-Pacific really relies on a lot of strong bilateral and multilateral alliances. We've got to build an entire network that can contain China's increasingly aggressive expansionist tendencies.
Now, Congressman, when you were appointed to the Select Committee on China, you said, quote, "This Congress and my generation have an opportunity to rise above politics and to chart a course for sound strategy." As you watch how Republicans respond to this balloon situation, slamming the administration, does it give you any concern that that goal might be too difficult to come together on?
It's disappointing. As I said, the Chinese Communist Party right now looks weak and incompetent. I mean, this maneuver with the balloon is clumsy at best. And this was an opportunity for America to come together, demonstrate strength and resolve, rally behind the commander-in-chief as he is executing competent policy. And instead, the House GOP is just engaged in finger-pointing. And I think a demonstration of that is, let's all just imagine this exact episode played out when Donald Trump was president. I mean, do we really think Marco Rubio or Josh Hawley would have been criticizing him? Of course not. He could have threatened to drop a nuclear bomb on the thing and they would have been cheering him on. So it's just the height of hypocrisy. And frankly, they lose credibility now on the issue of bipartisan strategy with the Chinese Communist Party. But I'm not giving up on it. It's too important. My generation and veterans in particular have a role in Congress of trying to chart a course to sound strategy that is bigger than the day-to-day bickering in the House.
Speaking of bigger than the day-to-day bickering, there's a familiar scene outside of the Capitol being resurrected right now, fencing being installed today around the Capitol. I'm going to try to make this very quick. There are concerns being brought up by certain colleagues of yours about security concerns about people trying to carry firearms to the Capitol complex and metal detectors being removed. Do you share their concerns? Is there a situation where politics should be set aside here for safety?
The U.S. Capitol is the people's house. It should be free and open to the public, to journalists, to hold their representatives to account. In general, I don't like to see us put up fencing or any kinds of hardening of the people's house. But for a high-profile, sensitive event like the State of the Union, I got confidence that the Secret Service is doing what's reasonable. But I do expect that that fencing will come down. I'm more focused on the actual speech itself. I'm excited about it, hoping to hear the president express strong and clear support for Social Security and Medicare. We are going to make sure they are solvent and that they are there for generations to come.
Congressman Jake Auchincloss, thanks for your time today, Congressman. We appreciate it.
Good to be with you.